Chatfield is right, they score! I think we've just booked our first ticket to Kathmandu. Canes will keep it in though. It's Aho. Aho shot! He scores! It leaks through Fedotov. The 6'6" goalie had it, but he couldn't seal it up. And Sebastion Aho right on cue has put Carolina in the lead 2-1. Konechny streaks in, and what a save! Kochetkov flashing the leather, and he'll hang on.
The game-winning goal at this point, Aho. Fedotov could not squeeze the arm of the body on the blocker side. That was a really smart shot, trying Konechny to do the same thing on the glove side. But did Kochetkov ever squeeze the arm?
Yes, he did. Kochetkov squeezed the arm. He actually gloved it down. It was a great save, and it preserved the game-winning goal for Sebastion Aho, which, of course, allowed Eddie Olczyk to talk about Ron Francis. So everybody was happy on the night. Hi, everyone. That's the Canes Corner podcast, brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna's crew do a great job. You should check them out for all of your exterior home improvement needs. All right. Let's just big picture this real quick. We'll go through the numbers. We'll talk about the goals. But a third straight win for Carolina, which after winning 8 in a row had kind of been on the win one, lose one, win one, lose one kind of a deal. They'd have a couple in a row, but now 3 straight. And in game 18, the Hurricanes are 14-4 on the season, back top of the Metro Division, 1 point ahead of Washington, who is 13-4-1. New Jersey playing much better of late, and Carolina will be in New Jersey tomorrow. So this stretch of 9 games in 15 days, which began with the back-to-backs Saturday and Sunday at Lenovo Center, 4-0 win over Ottawa, 4-1 win over St. Louis, 4-1 today. This is the 14th time in 18 games. 14 out of 18. The Hurricanes have scored 4 or more goals in a game. I mean, it's just remarkable. This was the team that wasn't supposed to be able to score, right? And yeah, I get it. Necas has 30 points in 18 games, and his point streak ended tonight at 13. He had nothing. Frankly, that line didn't play all that well, I didn't think. I thought we saw some of the old bad habits tonight. There was some poor puck management on that line. Look, not a big deal. They've played awesome all season. You're going to have some tough nights. I actually thought their mismanagement led to the Ryan Poehling goal. Either way, no big deal. We move on. And frankly, they're allowed to have a tough night. And tough is relative because they weren't terrible, but it just wasn't what they've been. But it's not like Necas has 16 goals. He's got 11. That's a lot. But it's not gargantuan. Aho's got his 5th goal tonight. Andres, I think, stuck on 5 goals. Seth Jarvis hasn't played in a week. He's only got 4. So it's not like the Hurricanes are just pouring in goals from their best guys. This is the team that has been constructed. And, we talk about this a lot. I thought they'd be good. I thought they were a playoff team. And I still think that we're going to see some, regression to the mean. Certainly with Necas. Certainly with Roslovic, who did get his 10th goal tonight. But, man, this team just looks like it fits well. It doesn't remind me of the first Brenda Moore team that made the playoffs. It doesn't remind me of that team. But I've used it as an example. That team won 46 games, right? They had some ridiculous 31, 12, and 5 from New Year's to the end of the season run. But if you look at that roster isn't even close to as good as this roster. And that team made the playoffs. So I always thought this was a playoff team. It is surprising me, I think, at how good it is offensively. And I didn't think they played particularly well over 2 periods. They weren't bad, but it was not as good as we have seen. Frankly, they didn't play all that well against St. Louis. They played really well against Ottawa. They didn't play all that well against St. Louis. But Kochetkov, other than the goal, which is a bad goal, I thought Kochetkov was really good. Again, that goal, you can't allow that goal. This was always going to be kind of a tight game. Philly's been playing much better. The game in Raleigh was kind of a messy game, but I think Philadelphia kind of makes you play that way. And you know they're going to block a ton of shots. That's just what John Tortorella teams do. But so I didn't like the goal because you had a 1-0 lead and you let that one in from distance. I mean, even if he was screened a little bit, he saw it. He saw it enough. That's got to be a save. But that was it. And the Hurricanes really buttoned it down in front of him anyway. And we'll give you the numbers, the third period numbers, which were just absolutely staggeringly good. All right, as always, tell me where you're hanging out, and we'll say hi to you. See, we've got Hillsborough, we've got Charlotte by way of Fuquay Arena. Interesting. And I know we got people everywhere. We're all over. We're global. All right, so let's just start with a dominant third period, and then we'll get to individual efforts tonight. So we get to the third, and I actually had floated this out. By the way, follow me on Blue Sky at Adam Gold. We're just trying to shift some things over there. I mean, I'm not abandoning Twitter. I don't see the good in that. But I'm just doing some stuff with Blue Sky for now. So I had pointed out that over on Blue Sky, I'm like, let's just make this a place where we get together and figure out how to get Sebastion Aho going again. Offensively, he's been playing great. His two-way game has been awesome. But, he's got to be on the score sheet. So it was kind of a joke when we started tweeting from there. And I suggested, here's my suggestion, that we put Martinook with him and Jackson Blake. And we do that until Seth Jarvis comes back. So we get to the third period, 1-1 game. And, look at that. Jordan Martinook playing with Sebastion Aho. Hi to you in Roanoke Rapids. Lovely, lovely. How is the Randy Parton Theater in Roanoke Rapids? So he puts Martinook with Aho. Roslovic stays on the right. And what do you know? It's a goal. Roslovic with a great forced turnover. Aho just no-look shot. Throws it on net. Probably looking for a rebound, but it gets through. So, coincidence? I think not. Svechnikov with Staal and Carrier, those were the two dominant third period lines, by the way. And again, I'll give you the numbers in a minute. But Carolina's third was so good, and they needed it because the first two weren't great. So in the third period as a team, and Carolina was, in terms of, all of the metrics that are popular, whether it's on Natural Stat Trick or others, Carolina was the better team on paper. The analytics say that. But it was really an even period, and it wasn't all that inspiring. Hey, there were chances either way. I thought Kochetkov had to make a few good saves, and I thought Fedotov had to make probably more good saves. But in the third period, these were the numbers from Natural Stat Trick. I'd say at 5-on-5, but the entire period was played at 5-on-5, so it doesn't even matter. 33-7 shot attempts in favor of Carolina. Pretty steep. 17-4 shots on goal. Pretty steep. 21-2 scoring chances. These are not grade A's. These are just overall scoring chances. 21-2, 9-zip in grade A's, and of course 3-0 in goals. It's just an utterly dominant third period. Philadelphia didn't have the puck enough to really threaten. You did hear one of the highlights was a Travis Konechny shot and a save by Kochetkov, and I used that simply because it was a significant save to get Aho the game-winning goal, and we'll explain when we talk about Sebastion. We will get to that. But Carolina just tilted the ice right in front of the Philly net, and it's basically where they spent the entirety of the third period. Now, to those two lines specifically, which, again, very minor tweak. The other lines stayed together. Rod made no other adjustments. We had Kotkaniemi, Necas, and Robinson, although Necas did miss a shift late. Hopefully he's okay. And you had Blake with Drury and Jost. Oh, by the way, that line was awesome tonight. I mean, really, really good tonight. And they played a lot, too. You go back and you look at the amount of ice time that they had. That was a ton. Jack Drury played nearly 16 minutes tonight. He was very, very good. So Martinook with Aho and Roslovic. These are the numbers across. 14-2 shot attempts. 7-1 scoring chances. 2-0 goals. Svechnikov with Staal and Carrier. 12-5 shot attempts. 9-2 scoring chances. And they had the second goal in the third period uprising. So those two lines were just absolutely crushing it in the third period. I don't know if Rod will stay with it. He probably won't. He'll probably go back to the way it was. Like, it's been a while. We're trying. I mean, Rod is trying to let Aho and Svechnikov develop a synergy. I've said this before. As much as we all remember we all wanted the SAT line to be a thing. You know, Svechnikov, Aho, and Teravainen. Oh, that's got to be something. That's got to be great. Yeah, it never really was. It had its moments. Kind of a lot of it, I think, on the power play. But it never really clicked at 5-on-5. And look, everything's going so well, you don't want to mess around with it. They're 14-4. But the truth of the matter is that Aho and Svechnikov have never really gotten each other offensively. Doesn't mean they haven't been a good line. They've been a good line. They just haven't scored. And again, Aho's a 200-foot player. Svechnikov's defensive game has improved greatly. Roslovic has been certainly not a problem in that end. So, you know, you got your best player who plays 200 feet. You have the puck a lot. You're just not scoring. Okay. But, I don't know, maybe he'll flip it. Maybe he'll leave Martinook with Aho and Roslovic. Or maybe he'll just take my advice and put Jackson Blake up there and let Blake, Martinook, and Aho go terrorize the New Jersey Devils tomorrow. I actually think it would be a great line. You can't watch the game. Oh, Ozzie Kaniak in Perth. Congratulations. Welcome to us. Spring Hope, North Carolina. Chatham County, North Carolina. Pawleys Island, as I live and breathe. Beautiful. I love all you people checking in. Thank you so much for doing that. Again, we're here after every Hurricanes game. You can't watch the Canes without seeing how good Jackson Blake is. It's just going to be a wonderful player. What a fourth-round find that was. But he's playing a lot. During the last two games, he's been among the leaders in ice time among forwards. Play him with Aho and Martinook. Give it a game. Give it 2 games. I don't know. It might do well. Of course, that line with Drury and Jost has been really good. So maybe you don't mess around or change anything. Spartanburg, South Carolina. Hello. I feel like Larry King here. So those two little tweaks certainly kind of flipped the offense for Carolina, or maybe it wasn't great goaltending. I don't know the answer to it, but in terms of possession and shots and all of that, Carolina was awesome in the third. Hello to you in Gastonia. Shouts to all you Gas House Caniacs. All right, so I want to go through the goals because I think the goals are significant because they really do demonstrate Hurricanes hockey. First goal, 30 seconds in, the Staal, Martinook, Carrier line just keeps the puck in. They play a ton with Chatfield and Orlov, and that was the crew on the ice at that point. So they keep the puck in. It comes out to Chatfield. I think it was Martinook. Was it Martinook and Carrier? The Carrier, I think, passed Chatfield the puck, and then Martinook goes to the front of the net. And it really is just, you couldn't even see Fedotov. I mean, the shot, I don't even know how the shot got through. And it was a Phil Niekro special, just a knuckleball that just kind of floated and over the glove of Fedotov. And in, it was 1-0, 30 seconds in. Rest of the period wasn't great. It was probably better for Philadelphia, if you think about it. And this is where we had all the power play time. Hurricanes got a power play. Andrei Svechnikov was whistled for whatever, roughing, interference, cross-checking. I'm not even sure what they called. I thought it was a pretty light penalty to call when it was like there just wasn't enough there, and it was instigated by Philly. I'm like, why are we calling that? But whatever. So the Hurricanes' power play was short-lived. Then they went 4-on-4 for a bit. Necas gave the puck away. And then Philly got a little bit of a power play push. Then they got another power play. And then they got one right before the end of the period, which carried over into the second. I actually thought the 1 minute 40 roughly of the to start the second period, I thought that might have been Carolina's best penalty kill. Other than that, it kind of relied on Kochetkov to make some saves early, so he had to be good early. Didn't like the goal that he allowed in the second period. But you know, that's what was going on in the first period. But then we get to after the goal, and there were some chances. The Hurricanes had a flurry in the second period. Robinson had a breakaway. Gostisbehere threw one through the crease with Fedotov down and out. Like, it was a tough angle, and he was pretty far out. He might not have even realized the net was empty, as strange as that may sound, because he just kind of flung it right through the crease. But, I mean, Fedotov wasn't in the net. If you put it on frame, it's a goal. Orlov had a great chance that was saved with the shoulder. So the Hurricanes had a little bit of a push, and then Sebastion Aho, right before the horn that ended the second period, had a great chance to score. But I guess maybe that might have been the second period. And then we get to the third, and you're going, look, it's a 1-1 game. Anything can happen. Philly's playing well. They played a bunch of games in overtime. 4 of their last 6 had been either overtime or a shootout. And you're thinking, look, you just don't want to give the game away, even if you drag it into overtime, since Carolina had been mostly unthreatening for the most part. And then a minute in, you see the line change with Martinook. Roslovic forces the turnover from Johnson behind the net. Puck squirts out to Aho, skates it to the middle, and kind of against the grain, but also no look, put the puck on net. And it got through. Sometimes, like, this is the reason why there's that phrase, there's never a bad reason to shoot the puck. I mean, something good might happen. Just shoot the puck. And so Aho gets rewarded, gets the goal. Then, about 5 minutes later, Jordan Staal wins a faceoff. Faceoffs are good to Carolina tonight. Orlov and Chatfield change sides. Orlov shoots it, goes off it was either the stick or the skate of Jordan Staal, deflects in. It's 3-1. Less than a minute later, Aho steals the puck from Poehling, who tried to skate around him in the neutral zone. Aho just took it and skated it in, shot for a rebound. I'm positive it wasn't from that far out. You're not shooting to score. You're shooting to just get it on frame and see if you can get a rebound. They did. Martinook was in front. Again, Roslovic's side of the goal. He puts it in, and his 10th goal of the year makes it 4-1. It happened so fast. 5 minutes and 54 seconds from Aho's goal to Roslovic's goal. For Aho, again, first 5-on-5 goal of the year, and it breaks the franchise record for game-winning goals in a career, now 58. And he breaks the record that was before this season held by Ron Francis. So what that did was give us a what was I saying? Oh, it gave us an opportunity to hear Eddie Olczyk, who was doing the game for TNT with Kenny Albert, gave us a chance to hear Eddie Olczyk wax poetic about his bestie, Ron Francis. And Olczyk talked about how this franchise, this team, has Ron Francis's fingerprints all over it. Now, before we lose our minds and say, no. He drafted Aho in the second round, and he drafted Necas in the middle of the first. Was it the following? I think it was 2 years later. Remember, Aho came over in I think it was the 15-16 season. He was drafted the previous year. So those are two significant draft picks, and it's okay to give Ron Francis credit for that. But this team was not really constructed by Ron Francis. In fact, I'm not sure that Jim Rutherford doesn't have at least as much to do with it as Ron Francis. Rutherford drafted Slavin. Rutherford traded for Staal. And I guess that's it. That's it from that era. But, I mean, that's a long time ago now. But the roster construction, the cap management, all of that, this is the new regime, man. It's okay. It's okay to let, Ron just do his thing in Seattle. It really is. But it was so predictable. I was actually surprised it took until the third period. Third period, Olczyk finally got around to Francis, and it was because Aho set the record for game-winning goals by a Hurricane or Whaler, 58 now for Sebastion. And maybe this gets him going. Remember last year he had a stretch very, very similar to what Martin Necas went through for the better part of a month, where he just kept scoring and setting up goals and totaling points. He had at one point last year, I'll go back and I'll do the math, but he had about 22 points in 10 games. It's about what Necas was doing. So we'll see if Aho can crank out a good run here. I'd love to see Svechnikov do that too. I don't know that it'll be together. Maybe it will. Because actually, during that stretch, Aho and Svechnikov were together when they were both lighting the scoreboard on fire. So all 4 goals, very Hurricanes, hockey-ish. And then we'll just get to a couple of other items in terms of the way the game was played and, maybe big picture. And I want to bring up the fact that Seth Jarvis did skate. And I know there's some questions also about Frederik Andersen. So let's see if we can't run through a couple of these. Jarvis did skate. They're not going to practice, but Rod told me today that he wasn't sure that Jarvis needed practice. As soon as he gives him the go-ahead, they'll probably just throw Jarvis back on the ice. So, but they're not going to have any practice time. If you think about the schedule, 9 games in 15 days. Now we've already played 3 of them. Saturday, Sunday. They didn't practice Monday. They practiced Tuesday and flew out. Didn't skate this morning, not skating tomorrow morning. They will not practice the day after a back-to-back. They're in Columbus on Saturday. They'll probably skate Saturday morning. Then they fly back to Raleigh. I don't think they'll practice Sunday. Game against Dallas on Monday. Might practice Tuesday. It'll be light. Might practice Tuesday. Game against the Rangers on Wednesday. Thanksgiving is Thursday. Florida in the afternoon on Friday. Then Florida down there in the afternoon on Saturday. They ain't practicing, people. They might get one light practice in between now and the time this run ends on the 30th of November in Sunrise, Florida. So if you're waiting for Jarvis to go through a practice before he comes back, that ain't going to happen. And the head coach told me today he's not waiting for Jarvis to go through a practice. As soon as they think he can play, as soon as he thinks he can play, he's going to play. So, again, you just want him to get through the season and be effective. He hasn't been the same offensive player, but I also think that he's sort of been dealing with this shoulder. Actually, I shouldn't even say shoulder because we don't know what the injury is. So I want to be fair because I really do not know. I think we can all make assumptions. But I don't believe, I don't believe he's been right really since very early in the season. There were some games where he looked like he was in a lot of pain. So hopefully it quiets down. He gets a chance. They'll strap him up, and he'll do what he did last year, which is still score 30 goals with a torn labrum and a torn rotator. I don't know if the rotator cuff is torn, but it was definitely injured. So that's Jarvis. I know we've got some questions from about Frederick Anderson, and this is a big deal. So the answer to when is Freddie coming back is when Freddie's ready. Sucks to hear it that way, but that's really where we are. And Rod Brindamore, while I think it's frustrating for him and to a certain extent frustrating for the players, this is who Anderson is. This is who he's always been. If he's not real 100%, he's not going. So he played 4 games. He was great. Again, I go back to, like, he's allowed maybe one bad goal. I mean, he's just been great. I didn't like the second goal against Tampa. It was a Kucherov power play goal, but I didn't like the second goal against Tampa. First one he had no chance on, but I think that's probably the only bad goal he allowed. And his save percentage was .941. So it wasn't like he was struggling and then just bailed. He was playing great. And then he got a little nicked up. Don't know. He finished the game because he has not been pulled in a game. But initially it was week to week, and then Rod just got like, no, we don't know when he's coming back. And I've asked him about it, and they don't really have a timetable because they don't know. He just said way longer. Now, Brindamore is always kind of weird with the injuries, whether it frustrates him because he played through everything. I have no idea. But he's obviously frustrated. And I think everybody would like to see Freddie back. Plus, it puts a lot of strain on Kochetkov and Martin to be the tandem. I mean, so far, so good. Last 3 games, all right. Kochetkov was great Sunday. Martin was great Saturday. Kochetkov, other than the one bad goal, solid as a rock tonight. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. And by the way, because he had so little work, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that Rod hands the crease back to Kochetkov against New Jersey tomorrow. But here's where I think he won't. Good. But I think he's leery of wearing Kochetkov out. Because I think Pyotr didn't get pulled from that game in Utah because of an injury as much as he was kind of ragged. Not as a player, not as a goalie. He was just he had been through it. He was kind of beat up. Just tired. So he's probably not a guy who's going to play 55 or 60 games. It is what it is. And for this stretch, he'll play a little bit more, but I think you'll see a lot of Martin. probably see him tomorrow in New Jersey. But if they decide to back up Kochetkov, letting him go again because he played, relatively well and didn't have a ton of work, then you'll see Spencer Martin in Columbus on Saturday. And then you'll see Kochetkov against the Stars on Monday and probably Wednesday too. I mean, I would have to think that if you're going to, you're playing the Rangers, you're going with your A team. And as good as Spencer Martin is, he's not part of the A team. As, I am. Get A for Adam. Never mind. So yeah, we gotta worry about goaltending. And if the Freddie, I'll just leave you with this. If the Freddie thing really lingers, then I think the Hurricanes will make a trade. They can't have Kochetkov and Martin be the only two goalies. Yanni Peretz is not an NHL goalie. He's certainly not an NHL goalie today. And Ruslan Kazayev is 19 years old, and he isn't even I'm not even sure he's an AHL goalie right now. So anyway, I think if the Anderson thing persists, I think you'll see Carolina try to make a trade and get another goalie here. You're not trading for a number one, theoretically. I know Pierre LeBrun wrote about John Gibson and the Hurricanes, which I think I've read 46 versions of John Gibson to the Hurricanes over the last 4 years. But if Anaheim wants to pay part of the salary, maybe Carolina would do it. But John Gibson wouldn't be coming here to be the one. He'd be coming here to be part of a tandem. And I'm not sure John Gibson was really into that, although maybe he is. I don't know. I don't know John Gibson from, well, Adam. And that'll do it for us. Good game, a great third period for the Hurricanes. And say it with me, top line Jordan Martinook is okay. Come to grips with it. Not for a long time, but maybe just for a couple of days. Work tonight. The head coach is good. He knows what he's doing. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. You should check them out for all of your exterior home improvement needs. And until tomorrow, maybe even a little earlier, should be a little earlier, when the Hurricanes take on the New Jersey Devils. I am Adam Gold. Thank you very much for joining us on the Canes Corner podcast. Rate, review, like, share, all of that. Good night.